Howdy guys. So getting into a new section, 4.3a. This should really be a review of these inequality symbols. Okay, you should have seen those somewhere along the way in your elementary school years. Okay, so this guy right here is less than, I'm just going to kind of write a few ways to say these, is fewer than. This guy right here is less than or equal to. Okay, this is a tricky one that you need to know. At most, I'll explain that in 1 second, and no more than. Okay, if you have at most 20 bucks in your pocket, can't you have 20 or less than that? You can't have 25. So don't be confused when you see the word most. Don't be thinking that it's a greater than. Okay, you need to think about the meaning of it. If you have at most 20 bucks in your pocket, can't you have 10? Can't you have 20? But can you have 25? Okay. All right, this guy is more than, is greater than. Okay, this one is greater than, or equal to. At least, I'll explain that one in a second, and no less than. Okay, at least. If you have at least 100 bucks in your bank account, you could have 100, you could have 1,000, but can you have 50? Okay, so at least means you've got 100 bucks or more. So don't be confused when you see the word least. You might be thinking of less than. Okay, don't be confused by that. Okay, you need to think about the meaning of them. All right, so here's an example. The Garcia family car safely seats 7 at most. X is the number of people that can sit in the Garcia's car. So we've got X is less than or equal to 7. So there can be 7 passengers or fewer. Okay, there are many answers now. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And maybe there's no one. Maybe there's 0. Okay, now do negatives apply to the situation? Could you have a negative person in the car? No. Okay. All right, so define a variable, write inequalities for each statement below. Ceci must earn more than 15 bucks babysitting tonight to have enough money to buy a new pair of boots. So let's let X be money earned. And it says that she must earn more than 15 bucks. So this, my friends, is defining a variable. And this, my friends, is writing an inequality for the situation. Okay? Okay, now we're just going to repeat that process in these other scenarios here. Number 2, a school bus can seat at most 48 students. You can let whatever letter you want. I usually use X's. X equal number of student seats. Okay, so the inequality that would go with that would be X is less than or equal to 48. Think about that. You can have 48 kids on that bus in a seat. Could you also have 45? Yes. Okay. Could you also have 2? Yes. Could you have 50? No. Okay. Many answers now with these inequalities. That's what that means. In many states, you must be at least 16 years old to obtain a driver's license. So we're going to let X equal the age to get a driver's I always mess this one up, license. where the S is and where the C is. I always have to think. Okay. X is the age to get a driver's license. Now, doesn't it make sense that you need to be 16 or greater? Okay, 16 years old handles that equal sign there, or anything more than that. Okay. It isn't safe to use a light bulb of more than, be very careful, 100 watts in many light fixtures. Okay, so you see that more than, and then you're thinking it's going to be greater than, but let's think about this. So if X is the number of light bulb watts, doesn't it have to be 100 or less to be safe in that light fixture? Okay, a lot of kids would see this more than and think that it's going to be the other way around. Okay, but it says it isn't safe. Okay, so we need to be careful on reading, really reading and analyzing what it's saying. Okay, Will must collect fewer than 26 songs for the playlist. Okay, and at any point, feel free to pause me and try some of these. Okay, Will must collect fewer than 26 songs for the playlist. Okay, so X equal number of songs for playlist. So he must collect fewer. He cannot collect 26. He has to collect fewer. That's what that says. Okay, at least 250 parents attended back to school night. X equals number of parents. Okay, watch this trick. Back to school night. Okay, that's just a Noonan quick trick. That's nothing official. Me being lazy, I guess. All right, at least. Wouldn't that be 250 or more? There might have been 300 there. There might have been 500. Okay, good. You must be no more than 15 years old to attend the middle school dance. So we're going to let X be the age for a middle school dance. And you have to be 15 or less years old. Okay, you cannot come to a middle school dance if you're 16 or 20. Okay. Okay. Of course, there's chaperones there, but we're talking like attending the dance. Okay. Alrighty. Next page. These get a tad bit tougher. A plane must travel at least 120 miles per hour to stay in the air. So as to not break the sound barrier, a plane must travel under 760 miles per hour. Okay, so we've got a couple of things going on here. So X equals the speed of the plane. Okay, so we've got an X has to be at least, so greater than or equal to 120. And it also has to be less than 760. Under 760. It can't be equal to 760. It has to be under it. That's what that says. Okay, that was your first experience with a double whammy. Okay. She must have worked in the industry at least 6 years, but no more than 10 years to apply for a new position in her company. All right, so X equal years worked. Okay, there's two things going on here again. So X has to be at least 6. So more than or equal to 6 and, but no more than. So less than 10. Cannot be 10. Okay, but no more than 10. All right. All right, hang on. It says, but no more than 10. Could it be 10? Yes. Boom. Okay, I missed that when I did it the first time. Okay. It can be 10. Okay. Children must be at least 48 inches tall to ride the roller coaster. X equals height in inches. It's important to have that word inches there. Because if you just say height and you say x is greater than or equal to 48, 48 feet, 48 centimeters, I mean, what are we talking about? Okay. All right, so at least means 48 or more. You must have fewer than 3 tardies to get satisfactory citizenship grade. X equals number of tardies. Fewer than 3 can't be 3. Okay, on the 7-day family vacation, the Joneses family traveled 12 miles on the shortest driving day and 500 miles on the longest driving day. Okay, this one's a double whammy. X equal miles per day. Okay, the first one, the Jones family traveled 12. So we've got anything 12 or more, and the longest day was 500 or less. So somewhere between here is what they drove per day. Okay, now we need to go reverse. You're given an inequality and we need to come up with a little story, a little situation. Write situations to go with the following inequalities. All right, this could be a variety pack of things. Maybe you want to pause and do your own. Okay, you must be under 7 years of age to go in the jumpy. Okay, that's just one example. This guy, you need at least 13 years driving experience to work for that company. This guy, tricky. We have not seen a negative. I owe my mom at least, I can't spell least, at least $6. Okay, let me think about that. X is less than or equal to, I think that would be at most. Let me think about that again. So X is less than or equal to -6. So that'd be like -5, -4. So owing less than that. Okay, so that's at most. Okay, I owe my mom at most $6. Okay. All right, another one I made a mistake on when I originally did this. Fix it. There we go. All right. Something a little different. Next page. Okay, this is very important to understand. Rewriting inequalities so that the variable is on the left side. So we want the variable here and the number 2 here. Do you see the big alligator mouth closest to the X here? Make sure it's the same way here. This guy, we want the X there and the -3 there. Do you see the big alligator mouth by the -3? Make sure it is here. Don't forget the equal to on that one. Okay, this guy, big alligator mouth is by the X. Make sure that it is here with that equal to. This guy, big alligator mouth is by the -20. Make sure that it is here. Okay. Okay, so this would be spoken. X is greater than 2. 2 is less than X. Okay, it's much easier for kids when the variable is on the left, moving forward through this module in this section. have your x's on the left. It's much simpler. All right, next little topic of review, graphing on a number line. Let me scooch that down just a hair. Okay, review graphing inequalities on a number line. Examine the inequality graphs below. Discuss the questions below as a class. All right, this guy has an open circle on 2 and it's shaded this way. This one has a closed circle on 2 and it's shaded this way. Okay, how are inequalities shown on a number line? Okay, so I'm seeing an open or closed circle on a specific number. Shaded left or right. Shaded left or right from that number. An open circle means the number is not included. Okay, that would be this symbol or that symbol. A closed circle means the number is included. That would be this symbol or this symbol. Okay, so let's look back up at the two examples. Anybody think about the inequalities that would go with them? Okay, think about that for a minute. Okay, this guy, there's an open circle at 2. So I know I'm going to have that. The question is it one of these symbols or was it one of these symbols? Okay, well, it's an open circle, so it's going to be one of these. And do you see that I'm pointed to the right? Okay, think about this as this. Okay, that's what's nice about having the letter on the left. The letter's on the left, that is always the case. Okay, now this guy, we know we have x, we know we have 2, but this time it's a closed circle. It's going to be one of these. Do you guys see that that is the arrow tip, this guy right here? All right, so we're going to go ahead and plot these on a number line to practice. Graph the following inequalities. All right, so I've got an open circle on 2, and I'm shaded this way. Okay, and you don't have to color in the whole thing. Just as long as you have a little bit with an arrow tip showing where you're going, then that makes sense. Okay, now this says, do you guys agree that 2.0001 and everything larger is a solution to this? Okay, do you also agree that everything 2 and less is not a solution? Okay, that's how you read this. Okay, this guy, open circle at -1, shaded this way. Okay, that means everything to the left of -1 is a solution, and -1 to the right is not part of this answer. Okay, isn't this really just a 2? Y is less than or equal to 2. Okay, so that's a closed circle at 2, and we're shaded this way. Okay, now the difference here is 2 is part of the solution. It is included. It is included along with everything to the left. This arrow says I go forever. Okay, 2.001 and this way, not part of the answers. Okay. All right, this guy, b is greater than or equal to -3, so closed circle on -3, and we're shaded this way. All right, that means -3, -2.5, 0, 100 are all answers to this problem. If we plugged it in here, it would make sense. But it also says everything this way wouldn't make sense. If we plugged in -5 for B, -5 isn't greater than or equal to -3. Okay? All right. Last page, guys. All right, -0.5. So you might have to put a circle in between these intervals. They're not always going to land on a perfect number that's labeled, okay? So -0.5 would be here. And it is an open circle, and then we're shading that way. This guy, -1.5 would be here. It's an open circle, and we're shaded this way. All right. Activity. Consider the following two inequality statements. In your own words, describe the solution set for each, and then draw a graph for the solution set. Okay, this is really important to understand for this section 3 in this module 4. Okay, all right, for the x is less than or equal to 2, the solution set, remember there are lots of answers now. There are an infinite number of answers. All these little decimals in here are answers. All these numbers way down here are answers. Okay, so the solution set is 2 and everything less than 2. Okay, so if you think of that on your number line, okay, I always like to put a number before, the number, and a number after. So we're going to have a solid circle on that too, shaded this way. Let me actually put that in a different color so it stands out. Okay, now for the other one, for 2 is less than or equal to x, please think of that the other way. Think of that with the x here and the 2 here. I see kids all the time get things shaded the wrong way because they think, oh, I'm going to shade to the left. That's pointing left. Well, guess what? The x is not in the correct spot to be able to think like that. Okay, so big alligator mouth is by the x. Okay, so this is what we're going to be thinking of. The solution set is 2 and everything greater than 2. Okay, so that would be on a number line. I've got my 1, I've got my 2, I've got my 3, got my closed circle on 2, and I'm shaded to the right. Okay, now, if you put these two together, aren't we talking about every number in the world? Okay, if you're talking about 2 and everything less, and you're talking about 2 and everything greater, okay, so together, the solution set is all numbers. So that would look like, here's your number line. That would look like the whole thing shaded. Okay, that's an important thing to understand. Okay, all right, we've got 2 last ones, guys, for our review. Write an inequality. So we're going backwards. We're given a picture, and we need to come up with the inequality. So I've got an open circle at 1, so I know I'm going to be x and 1. The question is, what symbol am I going to use? Now it's an open circle, so it's either going to be a less than or a greater than. And if it's pointed to the left, hopefully you're okay with that. Okay, now this one, we know it's going to be an x and a -3. Close circle this time. So it's either going to be a less than or equal to or a greater than or equal to. Is everybody okay with it's going larger? So it's got to be greater than or equal to. Okay. All right, that was kind of a lengthy lesson. Most of it should be a review of your elementary school. Hopefully you're all good in understanding that. Thanks, guys.